Hi, my name is Vernadakis, and this is my story. Before I met God, I was roughly around 16 years old when I started to use drugs, and by the age of 18, I knew that I was an addict. My addiction ultimately led me and put me in a position to where I had my spinal cord injury. I was shot in the left shoulder, leaving me paralyzed from my chest down, and all the nerves in my arm were gone, so I could only barely wiggle a couple fingers. It was my best friend at the time, but instead of bringing me to the hospital or calling 911, he picked me up and put me in his bathtub, kept me there for 18 hours, and then he finally brought me to the hospital. The doctors started loading me up on all types of opiates and narcotics, and one thing led to another, and I started to abuse them. It was easier to abuse the medications and run away from my reality instead of trying to deal with what happened. It really consumed me. Like, I always believed in God, but at the time of my injury, I started to kind of second guess everything. I was just mad at the world. I overdosed like 6 times. I should have died when I got shot, so it's just a miracle that I'm still alive. By the grace of God, I ended up going to treatment, and then I started to go to Club Oasis, to these Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. That's when I raised my hand, said I'm new to the area, I'm looking for a sponsor. And then that's when my brother Mike raised his hand and said he would be my sponsor.
Well, my name is Michael Battaglia. I'm a member of Family Church Gardens. I attend there with my mother Lisa and my 2 sons Anthony and Gianni. I'm in recovery myself, and drugs and alcohol are definitely a part of my story. I attend meetings in Palm Beach Gardens. And in AA, something that we do, a part of mentorship, we call them sponsors. Personally, when you go through the work, it's our job just as a Christian to share our testimony and to share our message, with someone else that's also suffering.
So between him and doing some step work, reading the big book, and just going to meetings, they made me open my eyes to actually believe that there is a higher power, and that my higher power could possibly help me just open my eyes and become closer to God.
We talk about it in the 3 circles. We look for solutions in wrong places, and it turns into brokenness. And that's what our story's about. Through that brokenness, you become at a place of surrender, where there is no other options, and you're looking for hope. And that hope is found in Christ. Christ is the power greater than ourselves. And as we started getting closer, I remember one weekend he called me and he said, "I'd like to go to church." And I was excited. Whatever needed to happen to get him to church that day, we got him to church. And he enjoyed it.
I really appreciate how the church makes me feel like family. They've always welcomed me with open arms. It means a lot to me.
He continued to come, and one of the services we were talking about baptism, and he said that was something he'd be interested in. And
I ended up getting baptized, and at that moment, I felt like God's presence was right there with me, and I've never felt closer to God than I did at that specific moment.
And it was an absolute beautiful moment that he turned his life over and professed it to everyone in that church, that he now has a relationship with Christ, and he's become one of my very good friends today.
I got really close with God over the past years. I'm so thankful. Like, he has blessed me in ways that I couldn't even imagine. Like, I'm still alive. I'm still here mentally. I can at least move my arms. I'm healthy physically, and I'm closer to God spiritually.
In the rooms we say we can turn our mess into a message. And I just continue to grow in faith and in the church.
I can't thank the church enough, and God, for everything that I have today.